Not that all YouTubers are dishonest, but a lot of them are, and we've been having a lot of fun with Nerdrotic and his insane path down, frankly, white nationalism, if in a very odd way, because, again, Marvel Comics, even from the very beginning, had a fairly strong social justice message. Again, there were a lot of contradictions and problems, and no doubt they could have been more progressive, but Marvel Comics did introduce a lot of black heroes, Hispanic heroes, Asian heroes, and put a lot of prominent themes of civil rights and even anti militarism. It's kind of strange that Gary trying to use that history to bolster his basically far right ideology. But we're not going to concentrate on that. We're going to concentrate on Gary messing up the very obvious stuff. Because if you know his channel, he's said for the longest time he's a true Star Wars fan. But the sequel trilogy and Disney has destroyed Star Wars. And unlike other people who do defend the sequel trilogy, I do admit that The Rise of Skywalker is a pretty ugly, stupid mess. But unlike them, I do actually have a lot of consistency because I think really the final chapter of all these trilogies is deeply flawed. Each in its own way, they're all flawed, whether Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. If you look at them very carefully, yeah, they all have massive plot holes. Things don't really add up. They don't really make sense. They contradict the lore that was established in the other films, even in their own trilogies. They don't make sense. They don't line up. They're very derivative. They're not very creative. They do a lot of ridiculous stuff. So I actually agree with him. His basic judgment is correct. Rise of Skywalker is not a very good film. But of course, him and Tim Pool managed to mess that up by saying a lot of silly stuff, which, to be honest, the film didn't really get wrong.
Oh, the Emperor is not dead, actually, and
Nope.
the Last Jedi didn't matter, and he's here. And my favorite part about it is he wants to be Rey. Like, the Emperor's like, I'm going to be a young woman. And then he's like, strike me down and I will possess your body. And then she goes, never! Ah, and then she strikes him down. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and then kisses Kylo Ren.
Weird. Real
That
weird.
was the Emperor the whole time was just
Gosh.
like, that Han Solo is kind of hot.
So again, I want to join them in the laughter because there is a lot of stupid stuff in Rise of Skywalker. And Tim is partly getting the plot right, that the plan of Palpatine is, yes, to take Rey's body and basically resurrect himself. But see, that actually does make sense, and they actually explain that pretty thoroughly. That's one of the few parts of the film that wasn't really stupid. But for whatever reason, he seems really puzzled by this, saying, okay, he wants to become a girl. No, it's not about becoming a girl. It's the fact that her genetics is pretty unique. He wants the body because the other bodies weren't working out. That's the reason he's doing this. He needs to find a particular body to put his essence in. Now, again, I'm all on board that Rise of Skywalker has about 1,000 problems, but this actually wasn't a big deal to me and actually did kind of make sense because you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, if he's got the cloning technology, why does he look the way he does? He looks really old and decrepit. Now, we know the reason. They just don't want to spend the money to de-age Ian and give us a proper Palpatine. But within the story, they actually do explain pretty well that, but he can't just do that. Whether it's because he's a Sith, or the way the dark side works, or maybe the light side of the Force is preventing him, he can't just use any kind of body. He has to use a very specific body. And again, in this film, Rey is related to him, so he needs to use a body from his own lineage. It's not that he wants to become a girl, it's he needs a specific body for the cloning process to really work. The other bodies weren't working out. That also explains Snoke. So he can clone a dark side user, but he can't just, quote, be in that body. He's got restrictions on his power, which I actually thought made a lot of sense. As for the other comments, yeah, they're funny, but no, they do actually explain these things, including the kiss, right? Because Kylo, again, I'm not saying this is a great story. He did redeem himself. I think the scene with him and Harrison Ford was excellent, but yeah, him redeeming himself made no sense. But again, they kissed because he redeemed himself. I don't want them to kiss. I thought the whole romantic subplot made no sense, but again, within the story they're presenting, it did make sense. They're actually going after the strong points of the film. And this film has literally thousands and thousands of weak points. They're not going to bother with those. They're just like, this thing is so stupid, everything in it was stupid. But no, a stupid film can have sensible things. most of it can still be stupid, and you can just really say, this is a really stupid film. It's stupid on so many levels, but it's not stupid on every level. You still want to be careful. That's what being fair-minded is, playing devil's advocate. But apparently now Gary is like, I can say anything about anything, and the lemmings and the idiots will just cheer me on and say, yeah, Rise of Skywalker, everything's stupid. No, Rise of Skywalker for me is a definite 6 out of 10 or 6.5 out of 10. It's hard to decide because, again, it is a very nutty, crazy film. But I can't say every single moment in the film is stupid. That's crazy. That's not true. There are moments that do make sense. Moments that are good, but they're just not enough of them. There are too many bad moments. The Palpatine needing Rey's body, I mean, they could have been more creative, but it's only mildly stupid. I don't see this as one of the worst decisions they made.
You know, it's hard for people to realize, and I'm not supposed to say this, and I wasn't supposed to say it then, but, you know, it's a film for 12-year-olds. But it brings